All right, thank you very much, Kaylee. He was joined by Kevin Hill, our old friend, owner of Brush Pass Research. We'll be talking a little bit more about his, this was right up his alley, of course, the sales. And we're getting to the end of the year, and sales quotas become an interesting topic of conversation. And Kevin, first off, thanks for joining us. And number one, what do you think about sales quotas? Because the big question that I always get, right, at least every year, at least two people put it in my email box, hey, can you help me out? I'm really close to my sales quota. Is there something else? Is there somebody you can refer? What do you think of the idea of sales quotas at the end of the year?
Sales quotas, well, first of all, it's great being back and being here talking to you, Bill. Always a pleasure. I think sales quotas are the devil's in the details in a lot of ways, and it's a necessary evil, right? Businesses have to predict their income, their revenue, their growth. So quotas are absolutely necessary. Goals are absolutely necessary. But they're kind of arbitrary in a certain time of the year. And it falls usually on a calendar month or quarter or end of the year. And whether you get a sell in on December 31st or January 1st doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but it matters a lot to the books. So the quotas are a necessary evil. It's something that as a salesperson you always live with, and it's something you should be prepared for. So if you're worried about the end of the year quota right now, here, what is today, December 7th, you have missed the mark in a lot of ways, because that started in August, in July, building up and gaining momentum to get to your quota by the end of the year. If you're prospecting right now, getting leads into your pipeline, then you're talking about first quarter, second quarter goals from here.
So, Kevin, of course, any sales rep has that always be closing mantra in the back of their head, right? But you hit this point of year, this kind of stretch that really starts with Thanksgiving and runs through the end of the holidays. And I would say probably 1 out of every 3 emails you get is, I'm out of office. I'll talk to you after the first of the year. Sorry about this. Let's catch up after the holidays. You get into that point where a lot of people aren't necessarily receptive to either your pitches, or they're coming up on those end of the year budgets and they say, man, that's just not in the cards for us right now. Let's push it out to Q1. If you're a sales rep who's finding themselves in this situation, how do you go about kind of maybe altering either your language to go ahead and close that deal, or making sure that you stay present in that mind of that prospect as they run through the holidays? That way, when the calendar turns over, you still have that ability to be front of mind, and you can straight away, as soon as it hits January 1st, say, hey, okay, we're back. It's 2024. Let's now get back into this.
Exactly, Kaylee. ABC, always be closing all the time. And I like this time of year. I really do. I think it's a great time for sales. Now, it's not a great time for sales right now, right? Because as you said, everyone's out of office. Their minds aren't really fixated on the task at hand or work, and certainly budgets become a huge problem. Sometimes you can say, well, it's been a great year so far. It's been a bad year so far. Let's write off this expense or write off the cost of this product. In this calendar year, there's no reason to wait and do the tax write-offs in January. But a lot of times this time of the year is really good for that Q1, Q2 quota. If you put in the work right now, there's a lot of people still at the office. Things are less busy for a lot of people. And it's time to start building those relationships, adding to that pipeline, that prospecting for February, March, April, to bring in those sales. So this is the perfect time to do it, because I think a lot of people are out of office, but a lot of people are more receptive to talking about 2024, that next year. Now, if you're trying to make a sale and make a quota for this month here in December, it is a tough challenge, because the year's really gone on the planning stage.
Yeah, that's where I was going to take it in terms of if you say, for instance, if you've gotten someone in your pipeline back in the middle of the summer or early fall or so forth, and you should be at a point where you're ready to close, how can you make that sale happen without sounding too desperate? Obviously, if your quota is December 31st, you'd love to have it there, but how do you pull that off without making it seem like you really need the money right now?
That's a challenge, right? Because we've all seen this. We've all worked with people like this. We've maybe all done this. It's just like, hey, I'll give you extra great deal if you close right now, because of my quota. And it's not really about you, even though life is really about you. It's about them and their goals, right? That your prospect or customer is as selfish as you are, in some cases more selfish. So it is all has to be what's in their best interest, and then you create a narrative that means signing right now is in your best interest. It's not my best interest. I don't care. You can sign today, January, February, doesn't matter, but you should sign today because of X, Y, Z, and it's all has to do with their own self-interest. And that's really the only way to avoid sounding desperate, coming up with reasons that they should do it. It doesn't really matter to me, but you should do it right now because it's the perfect time. Not necessarily because I have to make my quota or I'm going to get fired. And I'm going to be hitting the unemployment lines in 2024. Take some sympathy on me, right? A sympathy buy. No one wants to have a sympathy buy. You want to earn it. So make sure you position it to where it's their idea. Yeah, why would I wait till January? Let's do it right now.
So, Kevin, on that, if you are someone in sales who is maybe on the verge of just missing that quota, or maybe you are not quite sure if you're going to hit it or not, how do you protect yourself from that firing? Is it just something where you're going to have to admit you're coming up short and then deal with it as it comes? Or is there a way, are there any other KPIs that you can maybe kind of get in that show your value still to your manager and say, hey, you know what, I'm sorry I came in a little short, but look at what I'm prospecting for the new year?
Yeah. Number one is always be a good human. Always be nice and kind to your coworkers. That's a good way not to get fired. The second KPI is activity. Be active. Make those calls, make those prospecting, get that pipeline filled no matter what. It's hard to let go of people with full pipelines in the work. So it's all about activity and attitude. Now, I'll give Brent Orsuga a shout out. He told me that a few years ago, and it's something that's always stuck. There's two things you can control as a salesperson is your activity and your attitude. Nothing else you really control, but you'll do fine if you do enough activity and you have a good attitude.
All right, Kevin. Well, thank you for joining us for this spot here today on FreightWaves Now. Always great to hear your insights, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.